Hello and welcome to the Pancake Parlay, episode 7. My name is The Don, and I'm here with...
Chowders.
And we got a good show for you this week. We're going to be talking about Star Trek, we're going to be talking about some South Park, and just JJ Abrams is doing things that JJ Abrams does, I guess. Rebooting franchises for people, basically. So, on that note, we'll actually just go straight into like this little news segment here. Is that today they officially announced that JJ Abrams is going to make a live-action version of the anime film Your Name, which is, I think, the highest-grossing anime film of all time. And, yeah, it came out in Japan, I think, earlier this year, or late last year. Took everything by sensation and storm. Everyone, loves this. I watched it, I'm like, oh, yeah, how good can this movie possibly be? And I watched it, and I felt all the feels. So, yeah, it got to me. So, I just want to discuss, why or what's going on, because JJ Abrams directing this anime movie thing. What?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't personally watched Your Name, but I have heard good things, and I know, the basis of the story. Maybe you can give the listeners a bit of a summary before we go ahead.
Yeah. So, Your Name is kind of about, follow these, basically, two teenage kids. One's a guy, one's a girl. And they live very far apart, and then all of a sudden, by mysterious circumstance, they switch bodies once every second day or so, and they kind of have to communicate together whilst being in the other person's body, then waking up the next day, being like, okay, he did this person did this, and they kind of, I guess, fall for each other. It's a romance film, and then certain things happen in the movie, and then it goes to a different way, and then it's an amazing movie. Beautifully animated. It's really beautiful. The color palette, the animation's very fluid, and this movie is I think even if you're not an anime fan at all, I think this film is, I guess, taken. It's like one of those things, like a Studio Ghibli type of film, where you don't have to be a fan of anime to watch it, and people know about these, like Totoro, for example. So yeah, Your Name is pretty much the next kind of pedestal aside from Ghibli films, I guess. So JJ Abrams directing it, I like the guy. I know people don't like him for I guess the new Star Trek, or I guess like him for the new Star Wars. Yeah. But I'm happy. I like him. I like Super 8, I like all that stuff. And so if you can harness that whimsy of Super 8, but more of, instead of for little kids, it's for teenagers, I think it'd be a really cool film. I don't know, where it's going to be set or anything. It's still going to be set in Japan or not, but I'm actually pretty excited. I doubt it's going to be set in Japan, but still, the premise of the movie doesn't have to be in a particular area.
No, and I agree. It doesn't have to be, and I think that's probably the basis of the film. I guess Japanese identity isn't necessary for it, I'm assuming.
There's some things, but I doubt it. The base of the story is still, the core of it still will be intact no matter where you put it. You can put it in Antarctica, for God's sake, it'd work.
I guess, I mean, it kind of makes sense to have JJ be the one to do it. He's kind of the go-to guy when it comes to adapting, as you said, rebooting franchises, so to speak. The only other person I know who can kind of be good at doing that in a sort of respect would be Zack Snyder, given that he just does things one-to-one.
Pretty much, it's hey, you like this source material, I'm just gonna adapt the damn thing.
Yeah,
apparently he has a really crazy thing where he storyboards it, and where it's for example, for Watchmen, he had this thing where it's he got the graphic novel, there's a page of the graphic novel, and there's the frame of the graphic novel, and he basically was just I want to expand on that frame, so he'd get the picture and then draw around the each panel of the comic book to be this is what it really would look like. So he was meticulous with that movie, and I still hold to this day that movie's amazing. So
yeah, well, I think a lot of people, maybe not at the time Watchmen came out, because I do remember myself that it didn't really come out as a super good film, but I really liked it, and I think as time went on, people have appreciated the film a lot more now. But yeah, I think within regards to JJ Abrams, he's like what rebooted the Star Trek franchise, the Star Wars franchise. He's coming back to do Episode 9.
Yeah, he's just
Which was
rolling in it
also
now.
which was yeah.
Yeah, oh, dude, yeah, I totally forgot. He did Mission Impossible 3, and that's pretty much like after Mission Impossible 2, that was pretty bad. He just went to 3, and it made it better, and then went to 4 and 5. Like that series gets progressively better, which is weird, but yeah.
Actually, was Mission Impossible 2 bad? I don't remember.
I know people it's the weakest of the bunch. Like it's John Woo film, but it's kind of like a little bit more nonsensical. Like people didn't like it as much as like the first one. Or like I think once again it's one of those things where it's like The Godfather, like which one you like 1 or 2, 3 is the bad one.
Well,
even like, but I know, but like in Indiana Jones now, but before it used to be 3, like as in like there used to be 3 films, and out of all of them you'd probably pick Temple of Doom. Like it's a good film, it's just not the best one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think especially with something like the Mission Impossible films, all of them seem to have like their own identity, and I think that's probably attributed to the fact that I think there's a different director for every movie. But I can be corrected on that. I'm pretty sure.
For which one? Which one?
For the Mission Impossible.
Oh yeah. I think it's different director for each film. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that kind of adds like a little bit of flavor and like, and it keeps it fresh, because I Tom Cruise is getting quite old, but like he's still kicking ass, which is kind of like interesting given he's been in and out of the movie scene like for a little bit. But yeah, I don't know, like with JJ, it just seems that he's just Hollywood's go-to guy for like, hey, we need something adapted, can you adapt this?
He's like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, and he'll do it, and why not? Like I think it's almost like a cardinal sin having someone direct both a Star Trek and a Star Wars movie. But
well, that's the thing. That's the thing. It was like before he started directing like Star Wars, like Star Trek, like the 1 and 2, like the modern equivalent of it. He's always said, yeah, I'm a big Star Wars fan, so he's just basically made that and then that deal with Disney happened. He's just like, shit, I gotta get my hands on this film.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I'm actually not a big fan of the second Star Trek film, Into Darkness.
Yeah, a lot of people, once again, it's not either not big fans or just like they thought it was just okay,
I think it's. I think the thing is they kind of, again, spoilers for some of the movies for Into Darkness, but I think
once again you're gonna do the reveal thing, aren't you?
Well, because it's really dumb. All right, like okay, so here's the thing. So Star Trek Into Darkness is basically the Wrath of Khan, the movie,
just modernized.
But the thing is, right, the way that they defeat him is basically a Deus Ex, right? They kind of already used that gambit in the first film, which is, hey, let's ask old Spock, what's the go with this guy, right? It's a really lazy story way to answer things, or like come up with like a solution for things. In the first movie, it's fine because the whole basis of, I think, the interaction between Starfleet and the Klingons, was like, it had, Spock front and center in regards to that conflict. So it makes sense why he was involved. Whereas, he was still around like in Into Darkness. So yeah, it's obvious they'll go back and ask him, but it really just adds to the not incompetence, but it doesn't make it so that the Spock and I guess the Kirk in the established movie universe is as competent as the ones that I guess Star Trek fans were used to. And I guess it's just not as easily conveyed, at least to me, in my opinion. It's just this really dumb solution to something that could have been a little bit more nuanced if there was better writing. But JJ Abrams didn't direct Into Darkness, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he directed it.
Did he?
Yeah, it was one of the things, and I think the main people's problem with that film was because it wasn't written by him. It was written by David Lindelof, and a lot of people don't like David Lindelof because he co-wrote Lost with JJ, and he also wrote Prometheus, and then that's why everyone's like, okay,
right.
so that's like you're that guy. You're very divisive in how you write your things. And once again, he's also writing the Watchmen TV series that's gonna come out at some point.
No.
So people were just like, oh no, you're gonna make everything like very like that way. Like I don't mind the guy, but some people like are just like, oh, you're the element in all these media that you're the person who did all this.
I mean, you've mentioned 3 bits of media that I have story-based issues with.
Yeah, you must
And
really
he
hate
seems to be the
Lindelof.
one factor that's involved. Like particularly, so you said Lost, Into Darkness, and what was the other one that he also...
Prometheus.
Prometheus. Oh man, the first I think 3/4 of Prometheus is just horrible. In my opinion, it's the moment where the main character basically has to have I guess an alien abortion and staple her stomach together.
Yeah, once again, the best section of the movie.
Yeah, because the whole film just changes tone completely. And it wasn't until Covenant came out did it actually explain a lot of the bad things that happened, like bad story elements in Prometheus. But I think retroactively explaining bad storytelling doesn't give it a pass. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, so that's really interesting.
Well, that's the thing. He did a TV show called The Leftovers, which I actually really like. Once again, very divisive TV show. I'm just gonna list all the shit he's done. He wrote the screen.
Go ahead.
He wrote the screenplay by Tomorrowland.
Okay.
I didn't mind that movie. Did the screenplay for World War Z. I don't know if he was the person who rewrote the thing or not. He did that. And he did Cowboys and Aliens, and then the rest is just Lost, basically.
Holy crap! Literally, all those films have not been even like slightly critically acclaimed at all. I think Tomorrowland had a bit of hype. I never ended up seeing it, but
I think it was really cool. Like it had that, once again, like it's hard to explain, but it's one of those kind of like what people in the 50s thought that the future would be like, but it was actually realized into the future, where it looks kind of cheesy and weird, like a Jetson type of thing, but in live action. I thought it was all right. I think the problem with it is, once again, it was a tonal issue where it's like, it was kind of like, this is kind of my thing. It's kind of like a Speed Racer, for example, like the live action version, where it's like parts of it you're just like, oh, this is kind of like for kids, and then the other half is like, no, this is kind of like a teenage film. Like the I guess the type of writing and what it's trying to convey is like, it's either for little kids or it's for like teenagers and actually adults. So it kind of mixes in between, and I don't think it really gels that well. But also, I think the movie's like two hours or something like that. It's very long, like for that type of film. You could have easily just cut it down, but yeah. So yeah, like people, you're probably on the camp where just like, oh no, this guy.
Yeah. I think World War Z. I don't think that had rewrites. I think you did.
Yeah, it was the second half. Once again, spoilers for World War Z. But at that point where Brad Pitt, they're on the plane and he got the zombies in the thing and he blew up with the grenade, the plane. Apparently that was supposed to be, I don't know the exact ending of it, but I remember it was something different. Like it was going to be a big action set piece.
Sure.
And I'm not quite sure if was like the Damon Lindelof changed it. He was the original writer, or he was the one who changed it. But basically, yeah, the second half of World War Z is probably the best half, and it might be Damon Lindelof's thing, where it was very I guess it was like it was actually survival horror at that point, because it felt like, once again, it was isolated. It was a lot more slow moving, and that's why everyone's like, once again, tonal shift, where like the start of World War Z, like the first half is very action orientated, very like open. And all of a sudden, the second half turns into this very like silent, slow-moving zombie movie.
Okay.
So once again, I don't know if he was the original writer or not, but you never know.
And Cowboys and Aliens is trash. So I mean,
yeah. Once again, it's one of I don't really remember that film. I remember. I just literally just remember like I think it's one of those hype promises where you're like, yeah, James Bond and Indiana Jones are going together, and it's kind of like. Like I just I just remember like I know James Bond guy. What's his name? Daniel Craig.
Daniel Craig,
He had the whole like arm device thing, and all of a sudden no one believes him or something, like one of those stupid generic stories. No one believes
typical.
me, and now there's
Yeah,
aliens here. We gotta stop the aliens.
You know what that does. Remind me of the latest Star Trek series. But before we get into that, the one thing I want to point out is, it does disappoint me quite greatly to hear that this guy will be writing for, HBO's Watchmen, because I really like Watchmen.
it's like I really like that movie. I like the comic book. I like the graphic novel. I got the ultimate director's cut, which is like I think 3.5 hours, where it includes the Tales of the Black Freighter.
Yeah.
I got all that stuff.
Oh man, have you been reading any of the DC stuff in regards to
I watched I read it was like what, Batman and Flash 23 or whatever. That and a little bit before, but
also
that was a little
Rebirth
bit farther
1.
away, but yeah.
Rebirth 1 as well. Rebirth issue 1 kind of leads the story in. One of the cool things that kind of happens in there's like a really big arc called the Dark Side War. And basically Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor, who is a being who's responsible for several of the times the multiverse has kind of collapsed in and of itself, known as the Crisis, in the DC multiverse. And so both the Anti-Monitor and Darkseid duke it out, and kind of the resulting battles that ensue kind of lead to the death of Darkseid. But a really big thing is there are two pretty instrumental characters who kind of just get blown up and destroyed by a very weird blue flame that's left behind, and it's people. But at this time, DC hadn't mentioned anything to do with Watchmen or anything like that up until Rebirth happened. So people started connecting a lot of things that happened at the end of that arc, which kind of closed the New 52 era of the DC comics, and was opening into Rebirth,
which is pretty awesome. Sorry.
I don't know. Have you seen it's like one of the covers for the Doomsday Clock? I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah, I've seen that. I think it's getting advertised pretty much everywhere now. It's like, it's a Superman and it's
Watchmen
clock.
But have you seen the one?
Superman with the Watchmen clock.
No, but have you seen the one with Lex Luthor?
I think so.
Okay. Well, the one with Lex Luthor, he's sitting down, but then on his shoulder you see like a hand kind of like grabbing onto him, and it's I think it's pretty much implied to be Ozymandias's hand.
Oh yeah, because Ozymandias is pretty much the, I guess, generic like Lex Luthor. Because like once again, like Watchmen was supposed to be that self. I guess it's making kind of fun of superheroes, and it's like kind of like, what if these I guess vigilantes, because they don't really have powers, only Dr. Manhattan does, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, why are you glorifying all this stuff? Like, I think once again the Watchmen movie as well is like something where it's. Yeah, I think it goes well on screen, even in the graphic novel. It basically, I think Watchmen kind of started that whole I guess modern take on things, where it's like, I'm gonna deconstruct this genre, and I think it pretty much nearly started probably with Watchmen, and then in the following eras to come, everything's like a deconstruction. Like once again, you could say something like Rick and Morty is a deconstruction of like like, I guess, science and philosophical stuff, and things like that. The self-awareness, or like Community is all that type of stuff. So it's like, I think Watchmen kind of started that, like, as far as I can tell.
At least in the comics it did. I don't think that kind of stuff really transfers onto the screen well, because obviously it's the whole Seinfeld isn't funny trope. People won't understand the fact that Watchmen kind of did start a bit of a new thing when it came to comics and delving into the more darker aspects. Like, even I wouldn't have noticed, because I would have been too young for the time. But when it came out, it was quite a big thing. Heroes dying, and actually dying permanently. Consequences for a lot of actions, which I think a lot of just media in general kind of lack that as well. But I think with Ozymandias, he kind of represented this kind of force for good, but then also bad. And I think it's the moral questions that kind of, get people thinking. And I think that's the reason why, kind of Watchmen kind of stuck out. But I don't know how long the TV series will be. If it's a HBO, maybe it's just 10 episodes, and that would be kind of interesting to, I don't know, view.
Yeah, I think it would probably work well as like just a 1 off 10, or like, because that's the thing. I don't know the source material. I think there was like one picture of it, and it's tweeted by the David Lindelof guy, and it's got like the Night Owl #1 statue,
Sure.
which is kind of like a plot device in the thing. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I guess it's gonna follow some of the it's gonna follow the graphic novel. I just don't know what they're gonna adapt or take out. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. Because once again, it's in writing now. They'll probably start filming next year, and then it'll come out the next year after that, or like late next year. So we still got time. What we don't have time for, because it's out already, is the new Star Trek series. So 2 episodes technically premiered, just kind of like a double, and because the first one left on a cliffhanger, which is kind of like, I think in America it's like go buy the subscription service or whatever. And I think
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're just like, now you have to pay money. But yeah, I don't know, because once again, my knowledge of Star Trek is very minimal. It's literally the JJ Abrams films and like stuff that are like semi-reference in certain other pieces of media, like in Futurama when Fry really likes Star Trek. I'm just like, I kind of know some of this stuff, but not really.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'm also not a big Trekkie, although I want to be, because I think Star Trek is definitely up my alley. But yeah, I like outside of the movies and maybe watching like the odd episode of Next Gen and the original series on TV. I haven't really, I couldn't tell you like how what happened in this particular episode, like a lot of other Trekkie fans like do have like in their memory, like off by heart. But yeah, I mean, I think now that you mentioned that, maybe like the first episode might have been like a little bit of a teaser for the series. I think I didn't actually like the first episode that much, and that might be the reason why. Like maybe it was because it was like kind of, I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Is it supposed to be slow moving like that? Like, that's the thing. I don't mind slow moving shows. Like, I freaking watched Bloodline, for God's sakes, and that's very slow moving. But like, yeah, I felt like I guess because it could be weird because it's taking, I guess, the style of like the JJ Abrams films, but I guess it's taking the writing approach from the older TV series where it's a little bit more slower in its approach. And I totally get that. Like, once again, Star Trek is generally supposed to be more of a philosophical type of show and not a heavy action type of show. But yeah, once again, I like, that's the thing. I don't mind the show. I just want to know where it's going and how it's setting up everything. So that's my real general thing.
I mean, I think I liked episode 2 way better than episode 1. And I think that's just plainly because a lot of it was...
Yeah, because Padme's there, Anakin's grown up, episode 2.
Yeah, exactly,
Fucking episode 1, man, God.
And yeah, nobody likes episode 1. But
see, even when we talk about Star Trek, you have to talk about Star Wars.
Well, of course. I mean, it's in space, the final frontier.
See, I know that, and I live long and prosper. Yeah.
Yeah, look at you knowing cultural references.
Oh shit.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think just because the first episode just seemed to be a lot of. Also, I thought it started off really weak because they were on a planet, walking around in the desert, shooting at the ground to release water, and getting beamed up into the ship. Because they walked in the shape of the Federation symbol. I thought it was just like a really
cheesy.
I don't know. I thought it was very weak. Like, I didn't feel like I cared about the character or the characters. Rather.
Well, that's the thing. I still don't care, and I don't know if we need the whole season to really care. But it's kind of like, I don't like. And I like Michelle Yeoh's character, which is the main captain. I forgot her name. Yeah, we can kind of see, especially from episode 2, like their relationship, I guess, between her and Michael, which is also another her because they call her Michael. I don't know, it's confusing, but yeah.
Yeah, I also found that pretty strange too. I didn't know Michael was a like a gender neutral name.
Nah, I think they're trying to do the whole thing where it's like in the future, gender doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Sure.
we're gonna implant that there, and then 50 years time, like you see, I told you, or whatever. But
Yeah. No. Well. Yeah. That's the thing, right? With I don't know the actress's name, but they did like the very typical trope of like, hey, here's the main character's master. Oh, and they die, like in
yeah,
episode 2. It's like, but then you don't get any of, but they don't have any of the relationship. Like, I don't feel this connection between them. Like, there's a little bit of like back and forth in episode 2 where they have a flashback of when she first comes. Like, that's really interesting because it's like, oh, hey, like she's being an asshole because she's like a Vulcan who hasn't, who's just trying to be really Vulcan-y, but trying to prove that, her human side isn't, taking control of her and stuff. Like, I don't know. I think it would have been interesting to see that part, them do that part, as in her growing from becoming, and I'm sure they're going to explore it, but I think that's probably where the series should have started. Just because it's a classic, oh, hey, you're in the shoes of a new recruit learning about Star Trek, you know? Whereas they kind of throw everybody into, I guess the overarching story, which is, I guess the Klingon are back in there, forming a new, I guess, alliance to fight the Federation, and that's obviously not boding well for everyone because Klingons be bad.
yeah. Apparently, that's the thing. I know a bit about Klingons where they're into fighting, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the show's okay. Like I think when I first saw it, I got turned off. Like the first, once again, 5 to 10 minutes, and even like kind of onwards, because the writing was really bad. It's either the writing or the acting, but I don't blame the actors because the Michael chick, she was in Walking Dead, and I'm like she was really good in that show. She showed a lot of emotion, and in this show, I just felt like it was stilted dialogue. Oh no, we're coming here. Do they know that we're coming here? Like it felt like I don't know. It felt. Maybe it's the Star Trek style, but it felt very weird. I'm like, this does not feel
well. That's the thing. I kind of understand what you're saying because there's a scene where she's approaching the ship that's kind of scrambling their communication. Which, by the way, sending a lone person off in an unidentified like ship, like I don't know, like maybe they did that in the original Star Trek. I don't know, but it just seemed like a really bad idea. From
always travel in pairs.
Or travel in pairs, right? It didn't seem like the smartest thing to do. But they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna send him in. But obviously they know better. I don't pilot a giant spaceship, Don. So what do I know?
Yeah, I don't know what you know.
Yeah, but this is the thing, like, and she goes to describe like a little bit of what she sees, and it's like, and it looks sublime, but it seems really like forced, as in her character from the way they introduced her wouldn't have talked like that, and it was very like forced.
Well, yeah, because I know she's what you call it, Vulcan.
A Vulcan,
and
yeah.
they're supposed to show no emotion, but I don't know if she like took that to heart and was just like, I'm acting. But it's like clearly in the JJ Abrams films, and even from what I know of, what is his name, the Leonard Nimoy, yeah,
Spock.
Like even then, I know that they act with emotion still. But it's like I don't know, and that's
but that's the thing. Like at least when you listen to Spock, and I think the thing is, I think it's better done in the second episode than the first episode, and I think that's the reason why I like it more. Is because like even her acting in that one seemed more like in line of what her character would be like. It's very calm, but then some of like her emotion does kind of trickle out. It just seemed really forced in some of the dialogue options they chose to have her say for certain scenes. But yeah, like I mean, I think otherwise it's fine. And obviously it's only 2 episodes. Like sometimes it does take a season to get a show to get some footing. I think it's just because a lot of Trekkies have been waiting quite a while for a canon show, but I don't think this is in canon with the main series.
No, apparently it is.
And it is now?
That's why I think that's why a lot of people may be angry at this show, because it's like it has the style and look. It even has the lens flares as like a JJ Abrams Star Trek film, but it's set in like I think it's like not in the Kelvin universe, which is the JJ Abrams ones, but it's set in the whatever universe before the time travel thing happened. So yeah, and that's why I think maybe some hardcore Star Trek people were very angry, but I don't know, we'll see, because I think it's only like 15, 18 episodes, so it's gonna be pretty quick. And like, and once again, I just want to say, like, it looks pretty good, like special effects wise, it looks very good for like a TV show. So like, you know, I wasn't just like, oh, that looks really bad. Like, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good looking.
Yeah, I don't know. I do remember, like, there was a bit of a, I guess, controversy. I'm gonna just put that out there. Probably wasn't, but I do remember, like, originally it was, and then it wasn't canon, and then because I think, like, originally it was pitched as a show that will be before the original series, and it's all about back to exploring, but it's exploring everything in a fresh way, they're obviously their interaction with the Klingons as being new, etc, right? But then, like, they kind of switch, and it's like, oh no, it's not in that canon, it's actually in the JJ Abrams verse. But yeah, if it is actually in the main, like, series, like, I can kind of understand why people might be a little bit upset. But again, like, I'm not familiar, so I don't really know the, I guess, intricate nuances of how it's different, but I can respect the fans' opinions about those kind of things. But yeah, hopefully, like, as you said, like, 18 episodes, right? There's it's still got, like, a while to prove itself. I just hope it doesn't become something that's, like, generic or really predictable, like the first episode.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think if you want, once again, more people to become Trekkies, I guess, or like be fans of it instead of going back to the old TV show, yeah, they really need to hit it hard with the TV and get that stuff back, because once again, the only Star Trek related media was the movies for a very long time, for like our generation at least, unless like you really took the time to actually go out and watch it, the old ones.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, what, that might be something I'd have to do for a little bit of homework, just watch old Star Trek. But there's a lot of Star Trek.
Oh yeah, from what I heard, there's a lot. But like, once again, I've heard there's some good episodes in there. I just need to like weed it out and find the good ones, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think because there's the original series, there's Next Generation, and then there's Deep Space Nine,
something like that,
and then there's another one after that,
Voyager.
Too.
Or is
Voyager.
Yeah, it's one. I don't know. It's one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't want to start saying Stargate franchises, because I was thinking
Stargate Atlantis, SG-1, Wrong Star Universe.
Man, I actually really like Star. It'd be, what? That's what that would be a pretty interesting thing for JJ Abrams to do. Stargate reboot. Stargate.
Great, some cheese on that.
But yeah, what else have you been watching?
Yeah, the only other thing I've really been watching or doing at least was I watched Hitman's Bodyguard. So this is an action movie with Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. Ooh. And they played the characters of Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson. So they played themselves. Right, sure. So it's like Samuel Jackson's been like motherfucker all the time, and he's like bitch please, and then like Ryan Reynolds is doing literally he's Deadpool, but without the mask. And I actually think this movie is fucking awesome. And I wish more people saw it, or at least people do see it or get to know, because I'm like, this is pretty funny. It's got some moments where it's like, that's hilarious, but it's also got some pretty good action as well, which you don't really find often when it's a action comedy, because most of the time they're just like, yeah, we're comedy writers and directors, but action's okay. But like, I think it was really, really well done. Good cast, good story. It was just good. Like, yeah, I think it's one of those movies where I'd watch it again with just a bunch of my mates and just like put this on. It's like, it's pretty funny. So I'd suggest you watch it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, no, like I've seen the trailers for it, and it seems really funny. I mean, there's not much you can really go wrong with like a comedy that has Samuel L. Jackson front and center. I think it's been a while since we've seen like Samuel L. Jackson do like a pairing with another character, like kind of like a John McClane style.
Die Hard
'Cause I think that
3,
was
or
in
like
Die Hard 3.
there
Yeah,
was like
yeah.
the Negotiator with him and like Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, yeah,
That's a
true, true.
deep cut for that one, yeah.
Mm.
Or you could even say what is it, Unbreakable?
Oh, yep. Oh man, you know what?
M Night Shyamalan before he got weird, but now he's back again. So
Well, yeah. Well, look, they're doing the Unbreakable universe, like the
yeah,
cinematic universe. That's a thing now, which is also kind of hilarious. I was explaining to one of my friends, how Split was actually a part of, the Unbreakable, you know, world
universe.
or the universe. Like, it's so weird. Like, it's like, because it's like everything has to have a cinematic universe now, but it's just the weirdest superhero cinematic universe, the M Night Shyamalan, Unbreakable universe.
It's
Like,
funny because I think a lot of people thought like, oh yeah, like Split, that seems like a standalone, has no twists at all, but it actually has a twist like right at the end, and like it's one of those things where it's not like an after credit scene, it's like in the movie, like the last
yeah,
minute where Bruce Willis is like, yeah, I know him. It's like holy shit. Like when I watched it, when I watched it in the movies, I went to like a preview screening of it, and I think there were a few hardcore people and a few people who just got free tickets, and they're just like, I don't get it, like what the fuck, and then like you could tell the people who knew, because as soon as like the names got popped up and then you saw Bruce Willis, everyone's like, oh shit. Yeah, and I had a very verbal like person in front of me be like, yeah, like I'm like, okay, like I'm like that.
yeah, I
Calm
didn't get
down.
it. I didn't initially get it myself until, like, there was, like, I read somewhere there was a reference to Unbreakable, and that's when I kind of realized, oh, like, that's what they meant. It's like, oh, it's pretty interesting. And I think M Night said he's going to be doing another film, that's going to wrap everything up or something or other.
Yeah,
But
I just hope he doesn't get cocky, because he's like he's got this, he's got Split, so it's like, okay, come on, just don't fuck around, like still do good stuff. Because that's the thing, I know he likes making movies, and I know he loves movies. I just think he writes it. He kind of writes whatever's in his head, but he doesn't translate it that well. Whereas it's like, this is gonna happen, everyone's gonna know that, but it's like, no, so
yeah, 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 exactly. Like,
it does kind of remind me like of someone like a Zack Snyder. Like I love Zack Snyder, and you can tell he's very passionate with like movies and comic books. But like I feel like when like him writing is probably bad. That's why I like 'cause the only thing I think he's really ever written was Sucker Punch, and like we can have a whole discussion about Sucker Punch. But yeah, I think that film, like, it looks really great. Everyone knows that, but like I know that, and like watching the director's commentary, like I'm just like, holy shit! Like this movie is very fucking deep. You just didn't put it in, give enough people hints and well enough things in the goddamn movie to be like, this is actually a smarter film than you think it is. So yeah, that's
well, I mean, there's only so much you can tell the audience. You can't always one for one things from your head.
Yeah, that's the problem, because of like, from what I know about, like, I forgot what he would try to do, but it was something along the lines of like, imaginary people in their head didn't exist all along. There was imagery between like getting lobotomy and like other things, so it like plays around with time and things like that. But like, yeah, like I think there's a lot of videos out on YouTube being like, why Sucker Punch is really good or something like that, like good. So like try to find one of those things down. You're like, oh yeah, like, because there's a lot of cut scenes in that film that would make it like, oh, like there's like one or two scenes where it would make it like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. It just, yeah, they just cut it, which is unfortunate. And now that movie's gonna be bad forever, apparently. But that's what we've been watching. So Hitman Bodyguard is good. What have you been doing?
Well, I think I recently watched Gotham. So that's recently started up after, I think, being in a little bit of a limbo, in whether or not it would get another season. At the end of the last season, they basically kind of set it up for, Batman, like, Bruce Wayne becoming Batman. They had the actor in like this ridiculous, like, I don't know, like,
You're talking about the
think it's supposed to be
helmet
like a
mask thing?
no, it's not even a helmet. It was like it's supposed to be like a proto Batman kind of costume, but it just kind of looked like
A bag.
well, he just looked like he was in a mugger's costume. long trench coat, balaclava over his face, kind of thing. And that's what you kind of see in the following episode. He is so what also happens is it's very similar to what happens in a lot of Batman stories in which the destruction of Gotham being heralded by a villain, but then the villain turns out to be working for Ra's al Ghul, which is kind of like a staple villain for Batman, as he is someone who is an immortal looking to kind of trim the fat that's human from around the world to make the earth and the environment better. But yeah, he kind of reveals himself in the last couple episodes in the previous season, and teaches kind of indirectly Bruce Wayne how to fight. And so in this season you have Bruce Wayne fighting muggers. But the kind of interesting thing is the muggers all had these little ID cards from the Penguin, and basically Penguin has unionized crime to the point that
you know what we need? We need more unions to take care of the crime syndicates.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I'm fairly certain from memory that unionized crime is a way that, I guess, in the past, was used to control crime. It sounds ridiculous, but
yeah, that's the thing. I think it's the mobster thing where it's like, hey, we can protect you if you do this type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And I thought it was a pretty interesting concept to introduce, at least into like the show that is Gotham, which is kind of a ridiculous show, but I think it fits tonally, and I guess does borrow a lot of real world aspects, because from my understanding it's like that in Japan as well, where they have like the mafia and the Japanese government kind of have like a bit of an understanding, or at least had an understanding. It used to be like that in Russia as well, not so now, but
Russian
in
mobsters,
the past, yeah. Well, I mean, the Russian mob had, quite a big stranglehold on the government in the past. Not, from my understanding, not so much.
So yeah, Gotham. So like you like you. So I haven't watched the new episode, but you liking where it's going? Because like that's the thing. Because like I think first season Gotham is one of those things where it's trying to find what this show is kind of all about, and kind of like it has weird tonal shifts as well. But then I think second season, like midway through, kind of got it's moving forward, and then third season, once again, it's getting progressively better at least.
Well, the thing is, I actually like the first season of Gotham. Like overall, I think it's the weakest
out of all the superhero TV shows. Aside from to me, Agents of Shields is always down low, but yeah.
I guess from a from the DC side.
Oh yeah.
But I actually think that Agents of Shield actually does a pretty good job, like better job, than Gotham most of the time. I think the thing that Gotham kind of does really well is it kind of sets a theme really well, like this kind of neo-noir Gotham where they have I don't know, telephones, but they're all flip phones, and I don't know, the old school cars and Tommy guns, but they have maybe the internet, not sure. All of it's kind of like in the air for whatever convenient plot they need for the show. But I think in that respect they do a good job from like keeping a theme and making you believe that the people in the world reflect theme that they're trying to project.
Yeah, because that's the thing. We'll see where this all ranks, because the only other, I guess, superhero TV show that's coming out soonish is what do you call it? Gifted, or The Gifted. It's the Fox one where it's supposed to be like X-Men.
The X-Men.
So we'll
right?
see.
Yeah.
We'll see what that goes. But yeah, it's one. I think it looks like one of those TV shows where it's like it's sort of connected to the X-Men, but we're not going to say X-Men. So
wasn't there another?
Oh yeah,
show?
There's Legion, which is actually like
Legion.
That is my favorite superhero TV show. I think of all time. Minus animated series Batman and all that stuff, but live action, I think it's actually the best. It's
maybe I should watch it, because it was on my radar, but then I kind of I don't know, other thing, life happens, But
have you watched Have you watched any of the TV version of Fargo?
Fargo. No, I actually
Okay,
haven't watched any of
see,
Fargo.
the director and writer of that, Fargo, he did Legion, or he did Legion and
Okay.
things like that, and he is like the next big upcoming thing. Like his especially if you watch the first episode of Legion, you'll be like, holy shit, it's really different. It has some superhero elements, but it is very, I guess it's like taking its time slowly, instead of just being like, you're an X-Men, fucking let's go type of thing. And yeah,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Sure.
it's not straight away. Once again, it took kind of like the first season to kind of figure out what the hell the show is and where it's going.
Mm.
But yeah, I think I think his name's Noah Hawley, and
Mm-hmm.
he is amazing. Like his cinematography is amazing. Like I'm one of those stupid people who like cinematography, but like you notice it with this show where, I guess he's kind of like a Wes Anderson, where a lot of things are symmetrical. A lot of the shots are just perfectly like lit or has really good color contrasting. A lot of hidden meaning, a lot of hidden context, and just the environment where the lighting used. Sometimes it's like a blue, sometimes it's red. It depends on the clothes what they're wearing as well. Like it's a very like message hidden show with these hidden contexts, but it's a beautiful looking show. Like I think it is the beautifulest TV show at the current moment. Like taking the time to look good. So yeah, I can't wait for season 2 for Legion. And apparently the guys who wrote all that, apparently he's doing the standalone Doctor Doom movie script. So I don't know if that's still going to go ahead, but we'll see where that goes as well.
Well, if it is the most beautifulest show, as you've said, I might have to put it on my radar. You know what? In saying that, I think the thing with Gotham season 1, it was trying to find its footing, but I did kind of like it because it seemed it was more of like a mob styled like Law and Order, right? Like it wasn't trying to be all wacky at that stage. But then season 2 was when they started adding the elements of maybe some people have like some weird powers, or they're really weird and intricate and stuff. Season 3 I think was a bit of a disappointment. Like I don't know, there were aspects of it was that just went like pretty crazy. But yeah, I think like overall, like it's the weakest show, but I do appreciate what they tried to do. I think what I personally wanted to happen for the Gotham series when it was like pitched, there's a comic known as Gotham.
The Gotham City
Gotham,
Department or something like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
GDCP or
GCPD,
whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, GCPD. And it basically revolved around the lives of the cops of Gotham. And Batman basically played not like I guess a side character, but more as like he would come in and they would interact with him, and it's his interaction and maybe his assistance in cases and working together with the GCPD. Um, that would be like kind of the interesting highlighting moments, and there's a lot of character development. You see a lot of interactions between Batman and Jim Gordon, and some of the other characters there, and I guess that's what I wanted Gotham to be like, rather than it, I guess
A lot of
Batman
random
Begins, the
villains and then like
origins,
mini
right?
Batman. But now, yeah, now it seems, yeah, to me it's like, because when they cast the kids and everything like that, they were very young. But now I feel like since they're a little bit more, I guess, teenagers and they're getting a lot older, like I think like I think it's gonna be something like in like Smallville, for example, where it's like 10 seasons or like however long it goes. Like at some point, whenever it ends, the kid who plays Bruce Wayne is gonna be like a young adult, and he's probably gonna have the helmet and like maybe fight crime for like the last season or something like that. Like as in like
Yeah,
really be Batman.
but I think the difference there is with something like Smallville, like they had I think 10 seasons, or was it
Oh,
11? It's something.
it was long. It was
Yeah, it
very
was long.
long.
And the thing is, if they wanted to, and I think there was probably whispers about them doing it, they could have done something like I guess, Metropolis if they wanted, which was just like following the adventures of Superman in Metropolis. Now, like he's actually got his full powers. He's got a costume. He does all the things. Whereas, like Smallville was a little bit like Superman light, but not everything that he interacted with in the series was, hey, look at all these villains that you're not really going to be interacting with. Like he interacted with all these things,
Mm.
and that was a part of Superman mythos. Whereas, like you have Mr. Freeze, you have Poison Ivy now, you have
Obviously, you got Penguin, you got Riddler. So
Penguin. And the thing is, like, I guess if Bruce had been a little bit older, and maybe they did a bit of a time skip, like to at the beginning of the series where you're trying to find out who his the murder happens, he gets sent away, and then he comes back. Like, I think that would have probably been a far more interesting way to do the series, which was it's Bruce Wayne coming back after learning all this stuff, and he's interacting and he's investigating. Like, that would be
so
a far more
essentially,
interesting...
pretty much Batman Begins, but the TV show.
Yeah, in a sense, but like but you get to do a little bit more about I guess his interaction with the villain, right?
Yeah.
In Batman Begins, it was more of his relationship with Ra's al Ghul, which, once again, like a very staple villain in Batman's history, and you see that aspect could have been slowly hinted at, like, throughout. That could have been like the overall plot that happens, like over a couple of seasons. But yeah, whereas this film whereas Gotham just felt like, oh, we want to do Batman, but it's kind of a crime show, but I don't know, we'll just see what sticks.
It's like, pretty much. That's what. Once again, that's why I like first season's kind of like I'm like, yeah, do this, and then season 2, they're like, okay, this is what people like, and then
yeah, but I think it was like that at the beginning as well. Like, they were still trying to see like what.
I think a lot of TV
stuff stick.
Yeah, I think a lot of TV shows do that. Once again, like, everyone's like, look no further than Arrow season 1, and then how that's really evolved in comparison now.
Well, the thing is, at least Arrow thematically stayed in line with what it was going to do, right? Like, he in the first season, he basically had an objective, and so, like, kind of
I have this book and I have to kill everyone in it without no questions asked. And then he's like, then the whole legitimacy of that, and then also being like, you kill people and then not trying to kill people. Like, it's good conflict, good conflict,
Yeah, whereas you don't really get that so much here because the main character is Jim Gordon. And you kind of get like, oh, Jim Gordon's like an alcoholic, and he's a good guy. He's always trying to do the right thing, but then he might go over the line a little bit. But we still love him because he's Jim Gordon.
It's like those 80s buddy cop films where it's like, you're out of line, Leginsky. It's like get in your badge.
Yeah, gun in your badge. Yeah,
oh god, that's hurting my voice so much.
I'm not fired. I quit. It's a classic lines.
He said we can investigate. It's like, yeah, but breaking the rules is what needs to happen, and that's kind of yeah.
And they do play on that. They do play on that kind of stuff. I don't know. Like, I think with this show, if they're not going to be transitioning into Batman, I just don't think like they should really continue on. Like, that might be quite harsh, but I mean, I think the viewer count for this show is kind of steadily dropping. And I think they barely got a green light to do another season. So yeah, like, if it doesn't transition into Bruce Wayne becoming actual Batman, or like,
and then redoing the series and it's just called Batman.
Why not just do it, because it might be more interesting. I actually don't mind the actor. Like, he's young, obviously.
It's like, he could be a good Robin, guys.
Pull it off. But I think he could definitely pull it off.
He looks pretty dedicated. He looks pretty dedicated.
I do like Catwoman, the Selena Kyle character. Yeah. She's pretty good in it. Like, I like a lot of I think Penguin. Penguin's like really well cast. Like,
once again, he's the standout that everyone's like, shit, like, he's the good one.
Yeah. But that being said, like, his character's kind of relegated to just kind of being crazy now. Like, whereas, like, there was a lot more exploration in his character in the earlier seasons.
Yeah, first season
he had a lot more. There's a lot more tethers that keeps the characters grounded, and there's a lot less now. But we'll see where things go with it. But yeah, I think this might be its last season, and yeah, there's obvious reasons as to why. But I'll still watch it because.
Well, once you start, you just can't just be like, yeah, there's one season left. I'm not gonna watch it. Like, come on, just fucking watch the damn thing.
Yeah, just watch it. Yeah, fine, I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, what else have you been doing? You know, watching
um,
wise.
I've watched South Park, so that I was actually really behind it. I didn't even know South Park came out. But yeah, I've been watching a little bit of South Park. Yeah, it's pretty good. I know it's like in this typical South Park style, just mocking I think the current American political system, but doing it in like very nuanced ways. They had like dealing with like Alexa, the Alexa and the Google Voice and Siri, and how they're taking our jobs,
Mhm.
which was, a throwback to an older episode, which in and of itself is a throwback to some of the newer episodes of Memberberry stuff happening in South Park.
Well,
So,
yeah, that's the
yeah.
thing. Like, South Park's, I guess, like thing now is like instead of just being each individual episodes like standalone, once again, it is an overarching story now. Like South Park has changed pretty much for the good at this point, and I don't mind the new style. I think a lot of people are just kind of like, okay, a little bit here and there, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, well, I think it just might have a little bit of a Rick and Morty issue where like, people wait a week for an episode and maybe the episode's not up to scratch. Like I definitely know season 20, I think yeah, season 20. I thought it was pretty weak, like especially towards the end. Whereas season 19 was just like a solid and kind of season
Do
that
you
was really
do you
good.
know
And I
which
think
wait?
season
Do you know which
18 as well.
season was the one where it's the 3-part special where it's the Black Friday and it's the Game of Thrones parody and they're like, I want an Xbox or a PlayStation because like
Oh,
I
that might
like
be.
those ones.
I think those. I think that might have been like a little bit before. Like I think that would have been like a while ago
Yeah, I
because
think that
like
was like 18. Like yeah, since it was 2013, since those games came like those consoles came out. So like,
yeah. So I think
but
it
yeah,
might have been
that
like a little bit before
yeah,
that. But yeah,
I've
that
yeah
was a
really
really
like
good
that.
episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think they do a really good job in these couple of episodes as well. Like they also talk about like the current the thing actually the one thing that I really like about these whole ten episode seasons is the fact that it's very topical. um, you will have something that's in the news, um, and then within the next week, like that will be in the episode. It's almost like you're watching like a news show, but then like they're already making jokes about it in animation and then mocking it.
Well,
And I think that's
have you watched the documentary about South Park? I forgot what it's called. It's like 6 days to air or 7 days to air, where they always push deadlines where they literally make an episode within a week or less and make it topical. Is like that's how they do it basically. And it's a
yeah. I
it's a
mean,
documentary where they just like their writing process is just like this is happening. We need to do this, and sometimes they have to scrap like an idea like last minute because something else
mm,
happened, and that's why like all the election stuff, it was very like they didn't plan for that at all, and then they're just like, oh shit, like a lot of the storylines that they kind of put in place for the next season, which is this season with Randy and the trolls and all that type of thing, or like Hillary Clinton, all that type of stuff. Like that stuff is kind of gone because they just like, yeah, Trump won't win and he won, so they're just like, shit, we can't make fun of that
well,
stuff anymore.
that's the thing, right? With I think the when Obama got elected, they had already done the episode where Obama wins, which is actually a very like great great episode because it's basically Obama is basically Ocean's 11, and the whole reason why he's become president is to break in and steal. I forget what it is, but he's just like stealing something from the White House, and that was like the whole reason why he wanted to become president in the first place. So yeah, like there's stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I think definitely with season 20, I think it probably did fall apart just because they didn't predict the win with Trump. Like, and you could blame him for that one, but I think it just kind of made the end of that season like really weird and out of place. But I think like the ideas that they explore in it, and especially in the season before where they have PC principle and I guess the political correctness stuff is all very like interesting nuggets that they put in. But yeah, I think it's like a little bit more that they're exploring with I think the latest episode is talking about I think kind of privilege and I guess I forget what it is exactly. It's just really great. Like, Randy goes to try and get a DNA test so he can, prove that he's, I guess, oppressed or
Yeah.
from an oppressed class. And they do it
That
really
that's
well.
that's the thing. That's why I like South Park. It's like it makes fun of everyone, and
Everyone, yeah.
I feel
No
like
hold back.
a lot of TV shows don't have like they just don't do it because like either the person ahead of it or the studio will not like it and lose viewership. But like South Park's been this for pretty much since its creation, so it's kind of like it can just do whatever it wants and makes fun of everyone, and who cares? Like like one of the most famous ones is the Scientology one, or even like the Mormon episode, like making fun of religions and things like that, or even celebrities. It's just always been there, and like that's the thing. Like it's just always a solid show, and that's why like for going this long, it's an amazing show for its like 20 seasons. So you gotta give it that.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I think it'll continue to do well, especially if they are, pushing the envelope and trying to put more topical things every episode. I wonder if like watching an episode, I guess, 10 years from now and seeing whether or not like it ages, because I definitely know when I kind of marathoned South Park over like a particular year, and so I think the earlier seasons were definitely like, oh, I didn't get some of this stuff because I think the show started in the like late 90s, and so some of the stuff just like flew over my head, but they do stay very on topic, and I think that is what kind of keeps it relevant. Yeah, I'm looking forward to more episodes.
Oh, I am too. I haven't watched this season, but I'll get to it. But yep, that's what we've been doing. Unless you got anything else.
No, I'm good, man.
All right. Well, that's that. So we're just gonna move on to our question of the week. And our question of the week is: should JJ what style of film should JJ make next? He's done some sci-fi, he's done some action thrillers. So I'm just wondering, like, and now he's doing like a romance film that's based off an anime movie. So I'm just wondering, like, he's a man of all talents, it seems like, in genres. So I'm just like, out of all kind of genres or types of films or like genre of like feeling of films, what should he do? And my pick is actually he should like, and since it like he's really good at replicating styles. Like you can see it with Super 8 with Spielberg and those types of films where and something like Stranger Things really captured that type of feeling as well. So I feel like since he's done that before, why don't you capture another director's I guess feel and look and style. So I think like it's so weird because JJ doesn't really have a style minus lens flares, pretty much. But yeah, I think JJ should make a movie that's along the lines of classic old school Tim Burton. So something like a Beetlejuice or something like an Edward Scissorhands. Just something that's a lot dark, not just it's a generic saying dark, but like dark in just tone, like a kind of a black comedy, very weird artistically looking, very unique looking, weird lighting type of Tim Burton type film. And I think it would be really cool because like a JJ doing some sort of kind of quirky but off-putting film like a Beetlejuice would be pretty cool. And I miss those films because Tim Burton's not really making those films anymore. Well, he is, but he's trying, but it's not doing so well. Aside from have you watched Miss Peculiar Children movie?
No, I haven't.
Long as fucking title that no one's gonna remember. It was a good film. Like I actually liked it. I'm like, dude, Tim Burton's back in form, and no one really liked it, but I liked it. So like,
I think it's the name of the movie.
Yeah, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children.
Is it an original title? Like it's not.
No. I think it's based off like a young novel series, but it does not have that problem that a lot of the young novel things have, like the adaptations. Like you can see it with like what Alex Rider and Stormbreaker. You can see it with Aragon. You can see it with like the Golden Compass. Sure. You can see it with like freaking all the others, all those others. When Harry Potter became famous, everyone just started doing it. But yeah, like Tim Burton did it, pretty much made it into his own. It had his look and visual art and charm to it that Tim Burton has, but like it still follows the base story of the book as far as I'm told.
Oh, okay, yeah, like because the thing is, I heard of it, but like it never registered for me because I was just like, it just kind of seemed not something I'd be interested in. And I think the thing is, with there are some Tim Burton films that I like, but his Alice in Wonderland films that have been getting like pretty like I think the first
No, that's the thing. He only directed the first one.
yeah.
Whoever directed the second one should get fired from Hollywood or whatever. That was a very bad film.
Yeah. I actually I don't like either films. I don't.
Yeah,
like
I don't really like the first one either. It just
one.
exists. The first one, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. There were older Alice in Wonderland films that I think.
Yeah, that was the animated Disney one.
Oh no, not the animated, but there were
live action
movies.
Yeah, I think I remember watching one when I was a kid. And I had what you call it? The guy who played Willy Wonka. What's his name? I forgot his name, but he.
I do something beginning with G, right? Like,
yeah, Gene Wilder.
Like
yeah.
Gene. Yeah.
It was Gene Wilder playing the snail, and I remember that movie when I was a kid. I don't know, it stuck in my head. That was my Alice in Wonderland. But yeah.
I mean, I remember, and maybe it is the same film, but like I remember the live action. They did like everything from like actually painting the flamingos and stuff like that. Like they did all that kind of like wacky stuff in there, and I thought it was like really cool. Like the animated film. Whereas I think maybe it is just because like they use practical effects as opposed to CG like they do in the Alice in Wonderland film, so it's like seems a little bit more grounded. I guess.
But did you ever watch it was like a live action version of Wind in the Willows, and it came out in the 90s as well? Do you remember that at all? I remember watching that, and like I thought it was an okay film, but it's a musical, or like the Weasels or whatever have a musical, and like the song in that is like very catchy. Like if you type in like Wind in the Willows music Weasel, it's a very catchy song. So, but yeah, aside from that, yeah. So
yeah, I don't know, like. Do it to him. You know what? In your question, I actually agree. I think like we have to get JJ to do something that he hasn't really done, or at least I'm not aware of that he's done, which is just do a straight comedy. Because the thing, and I don't know if comedy movies. I don't think comedies like rake in like a lot in the box office as opposed to like action fantasy. But like you should probably try and do a comedy. So what would be something that they can reboot? Look. The thing is, I already said what I mentioned it earlier in the podcast. You should just reboot Stargate. That should be the next cardinal sin.
You should just do all 3 Star series and like that's it.
That's it. Just leave it at that, and then he should just retire. That's it. Like light a match, burn his house down. That's it.
He's like, guess what? I rebooted all the sci-fi. You're welcome, everyone.
You're welcome. Exactly. Everybody would just get a nostalgia trip. Like it's kind of like what we were talking about kind of 90s nostalgia coming back. Stargate is 90s nostalgia, so I wouldn't be surprised if someone did in maybe the next couple of years be like, hey, why don't we do Star Trek?
I swear to God, I swear to God, they're doing a new Stargate.
Sorry, Stargate. All these Stargates and Star Wars and Star Treks. We get it.
It's stars. Like, like you can Galaxy Wars or Galaxy Quest. Do you remember Galaxy Quest?
Yeah, I do remember Galaxy.
That's a comedy. God. Yeah, they're supposed to make a new it's called Stargate Origins. It's supposed to come out. It's a Stargate prequel, which is a stupid idea, by the way. I think it's supposed to come out next year. Maybe.
Come on, they already have SG-1, man. They don't need a Stargate Origins.
Yeah, no, it's stupid. They even have the movie. Freaking stupid movie.
I liked Atlantis, but I never watched the one that was after it. It was like another series, which was
there was a one after it.
Ship.
It
was like.
Oh wait, was that the one where it lasted like a season? I think, it was like had some like thing where it's like we need money kickstarting it or something like that.
Did they need money kickstart? I don't know.
I know there was something like that.
All I remember was that there was this weird ship. They were on a ship, and but the ship, they didn't know what was up with the ship, and so like there were certain rooms that they didn't know, what happened in this room, and then every episode with them opening a new room, and then weird shit would happen. I'm probably exaggerating what actually happened, but basically that's what I remember it being as. But yeah, like it was really bad, and it's a bit of a shame because I actually really liked um, SG-1 and Atlantis. Especially, I did like the fact that I think isn't the current Aquaman and Khal Drogo from Atlantis?
Yeah, it was Atlantis. I think that
Yeah.
was his pretty much big acting break. Like,
Yeah. I actually really like that actor, even though he's a little bit typecasted. Now that I think about it, he just plays like he looks the same in every like role he plays. But yeah,
that
I don't know. I
rugged,
think it
weird
works well, and
guy.
I think it's going to be a pretty interesting interpretation of Aquaman. So I'm looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, Aquaman. Like that's getting shot in Australia. I think that first trailer should come out very soon, shouldn't it?
Well, for Aquaman,
Yeah.
really?
Well, I think so. Well, it's kind of finished filming. Like I'm assuming, I don't know when it comes
Has
out,
it?
but I don't think is it going to come out during Justice League or nah? Like probably not.
No, it's got to be after Justice. 100%. I didn't even know they finished filming.
I think so. Wait, it comes out next year. Wait, I'm looking. Oh yeah, nah, it's not going to get a trailer until Comic-Con, next year.
Yeah.
Because apparently it's supposed to come out 21st of December next year. Like that.
Exactly.
That's hardcore next San Diego Comic-Con basically.
I mean, I think they kind of do their release schedules very similar to Marvel, where they try and put out 2 films a year. And it's like they have it was Justice League and then it was Wonder Woman. But like in their cycles, right? Actually, when did Justice League come out?
It hasn't even come out.
No, sorry, not Justice League. Batman v
I'm like, wait, what? Did I miss like a whole freaking date? Like shit. Batman v Superman came out like March last year, April, like May, around there.
March, April, yeah. So like I can imagine the release schedules being pretty similar for it until they kind of get a little bit in their groove, and then they will try and do like a 2 movie release cycle, like
Yeah, absolutely.
Marvel.
Because that's the thing. Apparently, they were supposed to be like, yeah, we're gonna do 3, but yeah, as far as I know, like
it's not practical. I think they only just did the script for the Flash movie, so.
Yeah, or I don't even think they're even done with that film either. Like I actually don't think they've written the whole script, because once again, I don't know. It could be the script, but they still haven't found a director, so it's one of those things where it's like, okay, it's coming out, but we don't know when.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, because that's the thing from apparently there has been screenings of Justice League, and they're saying that like Lex Luthor has been cut out of it, and apparently Iris West has been cut out of it. So I don't know if they were like
from Justice League.
Yes, apparently they're in Justice League, and they got
why
cut out.
would Iris West play a major role in Justice League?
I don't know. It could have been a 5-minute scene, could have been a 3-minute scene, but apparently she was cut. I don't know how people know that she's got cut.
Oh, okay, sure, right.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, fair enough, man. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to wait and see then.
Yeah, in a few months we'll probably have a big review of that, wouldn't we?
Yeah. We'll dedicate a whole episode to it.
Well, yeah, basically, like all the good stuff's coming out. Like I haven't seen Kingsman yet, but I really want to see that.
Oh yeah, neither. Although I've heard that it hasn't got any good
I've heard it's not as good, but like I don't know. Once again, it's up my alley, so I'm definitely probably gonna like it.
Yeah. I definitely want to watch.
And then what I've heard from early reviews is that the new Blade Runner film could be as good as the first one. So I'm just like, I'm like, okay.
I'm
now you've got my attention.
No. Keep low expectations. Then they won't.
Yeah. Well, it visually looks good. Have you seen those trailers? I'm like,
it does.
I'm like, shit.
Although that being said, Harrison Ford just seems to do his old man run. And
why are you here? You're a cop. You're a cop. You're supposed to follow leads. Like
gosh. Yeah.
He just doesn't
no,
care.
I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And then aside from that, yeah, it's pretty much just Thor. It's Thor, Justice League, and Star Wars, or Jumanji. But
oh no, nobody cares about Jumanji.
Dude, no one's gonna care anyway. No one's even gonna care because like Star Wars is gonna take over.
Unless it's what a horrible release date period.
Well, it reminded me of last year. It was the year before that when Assassin's Creed came out. Like literally like 2 weeks before like Star Wars, like after Star Wars. I'm like, that is stupid. You're gonna lose all the money.
Yeah, but
it probably deserved losing all the money. But still, that's stupid.
Yeah, like to be honest, I haven't watched it, but like the reason why I haven't watched it is because of what I've heard about it, and it's apparently like 20% of the film or less is in the actual like Spain part, like
Yeah,
historical Spain.
And like that's the
Um,
thing. It's one of those talking points where they're just like, yeah, you know, they're gonna speak in real Spanish and there's gonna be subtitles in the movie, and then it's like, yeah, that's only for like a little bit of the film to begin with.
like that's the part that disappointed me the most. Just because like the best part of Assassin's Creed
No one,
wasn't when you're
yeah,
out of the anime.
yeah. Everyone knows that. Like that's the thing. Everyone knows that. Like that was always the weakest point of any Assassin's Creed game, and that's why like in the new ones they've just taken that shit out basically. Be like, nah, I'm not gonna deal with that. So
Yeah.
that's
Well, I mean, they already did the main big storyline with Assassin's Creed 3, and that's where they should kind of end it unless they have something cool to follow it up. But I don't think they really have. So what can you do?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I'm still excited for Origins. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
taking that year off, and it looks good.
Did you hear about how they're introducing a new mode? It's like a historical mode. I think that's what it was called. And essentially, it's just like there's no combat, and it has like kind of like you can walk around and like there's like tours and stuff like that.
That's
And
actually
it's
kind
like
of
free
cool.
content. It's
Yeah.
free content. I think it got a bit of a backlash, just because I think like I've heard it being said as being game journalist mode, which is a really harsh thing to say. Because I do think like there's a bit of a knockback to the
Well, that's the thing.
journalism community,
Especially when
in games.
yeah, you see the what is it like behind the scenes and all this stuff. Like they spend a lot of money for like these game artists, designers to fly out to these areas where the game is based, take photos, do this intensive research, and then like a gamer's just like, yeah, it kind of looks alright, and just keeps on playing the game. Like, so I think that I think that whole mode has just been like, look, we're gonna teach you something, and like like we're gonna give you all the information that we learned, because that's the thing. I think they can do it. They can do it for more of the Assassin's Creed games, and they did a lot of that stuff, but it was always in text. There was always those journals where like, oh, during this period, and like if you really cared about history, you would read it. But
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I think for me at least, like I don't want to go out of my way to read text, but like if you're gonna give a little bit like of a historical update and be like, well, this is where this is and this happened. It would be just like a really interesting kind of way. But on top of that, it could be a really interesting way to kind of push a plot point as well. Like the character might not know of a way to go somewhere, but then using historical data, they can use it. And obviously that's like kind of cheating, but isn't going back in time using your DNA cheating? I think
he's like, wait a second, I'm just gonna go on Wikipedia. I'm just gonna find out what the hell I'm doing.
yeah, it's like gonna look up all historical data. Yeah, you know what? That man, you see, that just makes me want to play Assassin's Creed now. I might just fire up some Black Flag.
Yeah, I've pretty much played. Yeah, I've played all of them, beat all of them. And yeah, I know. I feel no shame. I feel no shame.
But well, as you shouldn't. You shouldn't feel.
Well, that's the thing. Unity was the bad one. Like, and that's like to me that is still the
worst. Was that the one in France?
Yeah, because like that one broke the camel's back, and
okay.
and like and it's different in its style where I don't know, it felt a lot more like an RPG, and this one like the new one feels more like an RPG as well as far as I know, but like. Unity,
RPG.
Yeah, I know, but Unity did it a lot worse. Where it's like, oh, this gives you more. Like you have to. It reminded me of something like a Diablo, like RPG, where it's like you have all this loot, but you need to play all these missions over and over again to get some good loot so you can pass the game. Kind of like in a way, like you could win the game, like you can pass, beat it with normal gear, but like it was pretty damn hard. So I'm like, shit, this is a very hard game. Or you can do what I did, which is like the Uplay, which is like the in-game currency. If you buy Ubisoft games, you earn points and you can earn digital stuff for free or whatever. So you just do that. You just claim it. It's like you bought like the second best sword in the whole game. Well done. And that's that's what I do. But it's all free. You just have to buy the Ubisoft game, and then they give you like these little virtual currency points, and you just claim claim online.
So you cheated. You cheated.
Kinda, yeah. Like
no.
Like once again,
no,
yeah. No, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, like, with the Unity, was the problem just because the game was inherently broken when it came out? Because I know, like, seeing all the like weird like faces and eyeballs like popping out
Mm.
was like pretty weird, and like there was stuff that was broken. But I heard like the world is pretty interesting, and it
Yeah,
was like a
yeah.
pretty good scale of France, and the thing that I kind of liked, at least like I haven't played it. I've only played up to 3, and I marathoned those games like one by one. Great,
Jeez.
great, great series.
Yeah.
Um, and that's why I took a break. I was like, okay, I'm kind of burnt out on Assassin's Creed. Okay, so now that we're talking about it, it just makes me want to actually hop on and play the next one, which I think is Black Flag.
Well, that's the thing.
Um,
It came out. There was a weird one where Unity came out at the same time as this weird spin-off game called it was like Assassin's Creed Rogue, and you actually play
oh
you
yeah, yeah,
actually
yeah.
play a Templar in that one, and that was like a short one, which I don't mind.
Yeah.
Like it was like it took away all the unnecessary bullshit of collecting and doing random quests. So I think Rogue was
Mhm.
more of a hardcore story. There was Liberty, which is like it's kind of set in the same time period as Assassin's Creed 3. And then yeah, it was Black Flag, Unity,
Well,
and then
isn't
yeah.
isn't isn't Rogue supposed to be based around the main character's dad in Assassin's Creed 3?
Yeah, I
I'm
think
pretty
so.
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It had a
But
different because of the Templar. Because in the
yeah.
new Assassin's Creed games, the what is it called? The commander guy, the guy with the triangle hat,
Oh, you
the
see,
Templar
again,
guy.
I've only played up to episode. Game 3. So I
Yeah, yeah.
don't know anything
You
beyond
meet
that.
him at 3. He's the
Oh, do you?
I think he's the guy who burnt down your village at the start of 3.
Oh, oh,
The main
okay. Yeah, yeah,
commander of
yeah.
that.
Sure, sure, sure. Yeah,
He
that
comes
guy.
back in
Mhm.
3 and stuff like that. He and apparently yeah, he also he's connected to Unity as well. Like all those are kind of connected because like Unity randomly ends. Like it has a random ending like in the first Assassin's Creed where it has this moment, this cutscene. You're like, okay, what the fuck? And then for some reason Syndicate plays off. Okay, because like when you're a little boy in Unity,
Yeah.
I think your father gets killed by like a Templar. Okay,
Okay.
and then you grow up to be Honor, who's the main guy in Unity. In
Hmm.
Syndicate, you play the assassin who killed his dad. I think it was something like that
Really?
because like I remember playing. I'm like, wait a second, this is
Ah.
the exact same cutscene you showed me last game. It was something weird like that. Like they're weirdly connected now. Like it's
Oh, that's
following
pretty cool.
yeah, so it's following that Templar guy. I don't remember his name, but he's the main British guy in Assassin's Creed 3. And yeah, I don't
The
know
main.
and now
Wait, wait. I'm
Unity.
trying to
I mean,
remember the
Origins. Yeah,
character. But anyway, regardless, you know what? I'm gonna probably go and play Black Flag after this.
yeah. Finish that game. That was like the one where it's like, yeah, Assassin's Creed's good and stuff, and then
Well, I've heard it's basically not really Assassin's Creed, but it's like more pirate game. It's like it's more like a pirate and less assassinating. But that's fine. I'm more than happy to play that.
yeah, it's very open. It was really nice. So that's pretty much it for the week, aside from our pick of the week. So chatters, go ahead and what do you suggest people do or whatever?
Well, I think I'm going to be suggesting Knights of Sidonia. I started rewatching Knights of Sidonia season 1 to prepare myself for season 2 and season 3. That's coming out next year. So that's something
Well,
which.
we'll give him a brief like rundown
Oh
of what
well.
that is.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Knights of Sidonia, it's like a very typical kind of mecha anime if people are familiar. But basically, in the future, humans have kind of evolved to uh, kind of have chloroplasts, a biomechanical um, factor that's found in plants in order to turn sun energy into food. And they also pilot, giant mechs to fight alien, threats. But then it revolved around a character who, you know, didn't have any of this, genetic engineering happening to him and his interaction with the world at large. And yeah, I'm not too sure what the plot is of season 2. And season 3 is coming out. It's on Netflix. It's a Netflix original series,
Oh,
so
Netflix
I would
original
recommend.
anime.
Yes.
You know,
And,
okay. You know what? Also, is an original Netflix series. Have you heard of it? It's the
is it the one?
Jaden Smith anime.
I saw it. No.
Dude, I think can we like hate watch that?
All right.
Like,
Okay.
as in, like, we gotta watch it and just be like, come back, you're like,
Yep.
well,
Yep.
what the
We'll
fuck
hate
did
watch
we?
it.
We'll do a hate cast, like a literal
how
separate
many?
thing.
Okay. How many episodes are?
I don't know.
I don't know, man. Because like, if it's like a million episodes, like I don't know if my cringe can bear it, right? Like just because.
Because that's the thing. The animation looks very sweatshop, like generic, like anime, like as in like. I remember having a book being like, the beginner's guide to draw anime. That's what the style looks like.
Okay, it's 6 episodes. I can do 6 episodes.
Oh, 6! Thank God. Fuck.
Yeah, I can do 6. Like if it was like a 12 episode series or something, or 24, like I couldn't do it. But
oh yeah, it's got some pretty bad ratings. 5.9 IMDb,
it's
22.
It's 22% on Rotten, man. Yeah, okay. And I see a picture of him holding a Toblerone. I don't know what's. But anyways, yep. All right, we'll watch Neo.
memes.
We'll watch Neo Yokio. We'll watch Neo Yokio. That's what it's called. All right.
It's fucking Neo Yokio. What is this? Speaking of Asian things,
Yes.
what I'm gonna do for my pick of the week is because I watched it recently because I remember watching this film when I was a kid and I really loved it. Still love it. Pretty much watch it every few years. It's a movie called Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yep, good pick. Good pick. I like it.
It was John Carpenter, right? Yeah, it was John Carpenter. He does some good stuff. Really, a lot of cheesy stuff. He's very weird now, I guess. But I think Big Trouble in Little China. I don't want to explain anything, and it's really one of those things where it's hard to explain to begin with. I think just go in.
Yeah, dive in
and just have a good time. Just do not take it seriously. Just be like, okay, just go with the flow. And I think it's very enjoyable. Just to be like, I remember it was one of those films when I was in high school, being like, guys, you have to watch this film called Big Trouble in Little China, and it's like the most what the fuck's happening movie of all time, and it's got Lopan in there. It's got some funny stuff in there. There's a funny moment where the main guy is trying to save the day and he knocks himself out. There's good stuff in there. It's got Kurt Russell being Kurt Russell in that, so that's why I suggest Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, Big Trouble in Little China is cool. Aside from that will be us for the week. You can always catch us at the Pancake Parlay /Libsyn, which is LIBSYN. That's where we update our episodes. You can also find us on Stitcher, Omni Studio, and you can find it on my YouTube channel, which is Marketing Movies. So from next week, we'll probably be reviewing Kingsman, probably, right?
Yep.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Until then, see you next week. See ya.
All right. Catch you next time.